Welcome to the Game On podcast. Tonight, the milestone man Tex plays his heart out and plays his part, but it wasn't enough. But Adelaide, Josh Carr hasn't wasted any time in looking towards 2026. One champion of the game wins the game for his team, whilst another says goodbye. All right, welcome to the Game On podcast. My name's Pete. Once again, joined in the studio here with Malcolm. Malcolm, how has your week been so far, mate?
Interesting. A few frustrating moments.
Yep.
The lawnmower's busting on me today. Might have invoked a fair response.
Fair enough. A couple of swear words in there as well. What about the footy, mate? What are you enjoying about the footy at the moment, just briefly?
I went and had a look at some junior footy on Sunday, and that was entertaining. Pretty controversial moment with no time on, and a youngster, the ball's gone out of bounds, and he just booted the ball into the car park.
Okay.
The umpires did nothing. It was bizarre.
It was bizarre. Mate, it's good to see the finals are sort of up and about at the moment, and we finally got into them, and we're going to talk about that in some of our hot topics later. And I know you've got a rule book rant lined up for us once again, which we'll do separately to our normal episode, so keep an eye on that on our socials. And while we're talking about that, please like, rate, subscribe, pass it on to friends, family, teammates, opposition players, have a bit of a chat about it, and let us know how we can make this podcast even better for you. But, mate, let's get into Around the Grounds.
Around the Grounds.
All right, today on Around the Grounds, we're going to talk some SANFL, some AFLW. Talk a little bit on the soccer now that the EPL's sort of back on. I know that you'll be watching with a little bit of intent with a few of the teams that you follow as well. But it is important that we get started with the AFL, mate. Let's start off with Adelaide. Well, that wasn't the start that Adelaide wanted for its first finals appearance since its hiatus in 2017. Looked flat, but we sort of now know why.
Yeah, I take that with a grain of salt. Look, I dare say they had a few guys with the flu and all that as well. It's flu season. So, out of that, I just think, I think stage fright.
Yep. So they were a deer in the headlights?
Yeah, I think so. I think, and the waste of the ball and how AFL and SAN, outsmart themselves. How many times did they kick long with no one there?
Yep.
Well, at least have someone back to compete. I just think they outsmart themselves at times.
Is that perceived finals pressure?
Yeah, I think that. And I also think Adelaide are now paying for not playing, just persevering with Draper during the year. I just would have played him, kept playing him.
Yep.
And ironically, without Rankin, they haven't got any burst and power away from a stoppage. And Draper should have been that player.
Yep.
So I think they're paying the penalty for that.
Rochelli's obviously a talking point. Do you, now that it is basically all chips in, do you take the risk?
It's a big risk, 9 weeks out. And look, you would have thought, well, if he's going pretty close.
He would have played on Sunday.
Even for a quarter or a half. So,
If you're Adelaide, are you looking at the bigger picture? Are you going, look, this year was a very good learning experience, and I'm not making excuses because, look, they finished top. They won the games they needed to win. They took another step in their evolution of, getting back to finals football. Yes, tick there. They beat some teams that have had the wood on them previously a little bit.
You don't want to go out in straight sets, though. You really don't.
Yep.
But I just, that was for me, was really glaring with Draper, and I'm sitting there thinking you're getting what you deserved.
Yep.
With not playing the kid.
Did you think Michael Annie playing forward was not quite, or a little bit of squirt in the middle wasn't really what they wanted?
I had no problem with doing that because I think he's so flexible.
Yep.
But, he looked like he needed a run.
Yep.
And again, they could have played him for a half. They decided not to because the game was the Thursday night, previous Sunday. Turned out it might have been to their best benefits to have done it.
Well, even a half a game too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I know that we've talked about it previously, but obviously sports science plays a fair chunk of that decision making. But sometimes you do need to actually touch the ball in a competitive situation, don't you?
Exactly. And they could have, Hawthorn did it with Rioli in a VFL grand final.
Yep.
Only played him a half.
Yep.
Apparently the Hawthorn VFL players were spewing about that because they lost.
Yes.
But Hawthorn won the next week, and Rioli was a huge contributor.
Was that the year that he could only go about 85% and he was able to control his sort of body movements to allow that to happen?
Yeah, maybe
I remember hearing
he
a story
played very
about
well
that,
in the grand final, though.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was, Hawthorn.
Yep.
Premierships don't grow on trees, and they threw one away by
No.
not allowing him to go back on, but
Not
anyway.
at any level. Collingwood obviously came with the intent to play and showed that they are a hardened finals experienced team. We did talk about number of games that were played in finals, and it did actually show, especially with Collingwood and Geelong.
Yeah, and I sat back afterwards in reflection and thinking, watching Collingwood live, that game against Sydney, I left saying that is the best defensive structure I've ever seen.
Yes.
And I should have thought, right, well, if there's one thing which finals
Will
relies
hold you
on
up.
is defence, and that showed there as well.
Yep. Were you surprised that Moore was somewhat let off the leash as much as he was?
Yeah,
I can't believe that he was
bizarre.
standing by himself on so many occasions.
Yeah, nah.
Because in realistic terms, he hasn't had the greatest year.
No, and Tech said it today. They got drawn too far up the ground and thinking, hello?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So that's coaching structure.
Yeah.
Is that mean that Matty Nix also had a bit of a shocker of a night, or
I
assistant
think
coaches or a coaching
yeah,
group?
I think as a group,
Yep.
players and coaches had a poor night.
Yep.
I don't think that can't be debated.
It's not going to get any easier against Hawthorn,
No.
is it? That's the thing, is that they're going to exploit them and open them up a little bit easier. Probably a little bit of a bonus that Kaushad's not playing, and a couple of other players that are probably key to Hawthorn.
Yeah, I can see Watson,
Yeah.
Ginnivan, etc. They're small guys more really being too good for Adelaide.
Being on a Friday night too, the ball's going to be on the ground a fair bit as well.
Yep.
Only 4 players realistically could have said that they could hold their heads high and play to their potential. How do you score? The remainder of the team. Is this one of those? It's an event, not a consistent thing that's going to happen for Adelaide. Although their last 4 to 6 weeks has been ho-hum. It's been very ho-hum.
Yeah. So I think there's a few guys really under the pump for Friday night.
Yep.
It's Friday night. So say Ben Keys has another stinker or O'Brien. You sit there and go, right. Realistically, they're not going to be part of the next premiership team.
Yep.
And that there.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think there's a few players under the pump.
What about some of the younger players who obviously would have tasted AFL finals experience for the first time? Say someone like a Saligo. Dawson was well held as well, which you didn't expect to see him. Well, you expected him to be held, but maybe break the shackles free a little bit. But it never happened.
It didn't happen. And look, after Dawson, with Rankin out, they lack class in there.
Yep.
Saligo and Berry are good, good honest tries.
Yep.
I thought Saligo was going to develop above that, but I've still got a question mark.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat in the question mark, but I understand that this year was more the plateau year. He had a breakout last year, plateau a little bit this year, and I reckon he'll build again next year.
Yeah, hopefully. I think there's some games this year where he has gone the next level. I think consistency probably has been a bit disappointing with. I think there's a bit too much of a gap between his good and bad.
Yep, and that's just a young player trying to find his level, isn't it? I mean, he's not the biggest young lad. An extra pre-season and a bit in the gym there could certainly help that as well.
Yeah, that won't hurt.
Thilthorpe looked flat, running under the ball, not quite getting himself in position. And for the last basically 18 months, I know he did have a little bit of energy, but for the last 18 months, every time the fall of the ball's been there, his hands have been like super glue and just grabbing everything, and yet he just was way off the ball.
Yeah, he was disappointing. So in a few ways on Sunday.
Yep.
Too.
What did you think about Tex and his efforts?
He was one of Adelaide's better players. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So, for mine, he plays on next year, but
that was going to be my next question. Do you think that he does go next year?
I think he's shown enough.
Yep. Out of the 22 at the moment, or 23 at the moment, who would be the player that you most would, or you can sort of see traded at the moment, or let go as far as contract goes?
I think most of them are all re-signed. So some big calls have been made, and because you don't want to leave the guys too late. Then now you go, geez, wonder if we've done the right thing there. I think they were virtually saying, hey, we need another ruckman. Then O'Brien had been good.
Yes.
Then he's fallen away the last few weeks. It wasn't just, this game.
Yep.
Cameron beat him.
Yep. Well, for the first half. Yep.
And that. And, then the North Melbourne ruckman, Cherry, beat him pretty convincingly. So he's got the acid pump under him, I would think. And Meek's a good player.
Yep.
So.
Yep. It's going to be an interesting watch, that's for sure. Hawthorn provides another opportunity to right the wrongs, but is it going to be that easy as that they just switch on and turn up?
No, I don't. Yeah. For mine, I reckon Hawthorn just about start favourite. So I know, though, we do fall for it, the teams who've lost the first set and that, but I reckon this week, and Brisbane, I'm going to still tip Brisbane, but give Gold Coast a
every
huge
opportunity,
chance, especially with Brisbane's injuries. So,
Yep. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Adelaide losing, obviously, to Collingwood by 24 points. Collingwood were the standout team for a good chunk of the year.
Yeah.
Adelaide obviously overtook them late. Is it a case of just timing your run a little bit better? Because Adelaide went through their run of, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row where they were able to string it all together. But it almost looked like they've run out of puff a little bit, whereas Collingwood went hard early, then fell back to the pack a little bit, and now are ready to go again?
Yeah, quite possibly. That was the word when Collingwood fell away, that they were being absolutely hammered on the track, getting ready for September. May prove to be a masterstroke in the end.
Yep. It's going to be a very interesting watch.
Mind you, they're lucky to have got the double chance because
Yes.
Gold Coast stuffed that up.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
they should have beaten Port Adelaide here to get that as well. So there's a bit of destiny about Gold Coast at the moment and Hawthorn a little bit at the moment that maybe a team from outside that top four is potentially going to spring one. But this also might be the last year that we see that advantage in play as well. So we'll talk about that one a little bit later. Hawthorn, mate. All right, let's get on to that. What are you expecting from this game right from the get-go? Do you expect Adelaide to be a little bit hungrier, a little bit more at it? Pressure
I don't think
shows
it's hungry. I hope they relax more.
Okay.
I just think, watching, thinking, geez, I wish they'd all had a beer each before they went on the ground. Might have even, they just look too tense.
Yep.
Still a game of footy. Still get the thing.
Is it a case of the mindset is it's round one?
Just
go out there and get a kick.
Go out there and have fun. And I thought last week they were talking about Murray Davis with his influence from Brisbane. It sounded like that was going to be the play.
Yep.
But it didn't work out that way.
Yep. Did you think the Rankin controversy caught up with Adelaide a little bit, or do you think that there was enough time between everything that really they should have just been ready and raring to go?
Yeah, but he's also arguably their most important player. Let's not forget that.
Yep.
Let's remember he was the one who kicked a couple of goals against Hawthorn. His record, last quarter with plays to win. His percentage of score involvements is the highest.
And contested ground ball possession.
A huge
loss.
Yeah,
you can't call for it. Who's the biggest player that Adelaide have got to look out for from Hawthorn, do you think? You let Gunston off the chain, he's going to hurt you. You let
Watson, Ginnivan, Lewis. They've got a good forward line. And, then they've got Battle and Barras back. They're a good side.
Yep.
There's not too many obvious weaknesses there.
Is it their midfield? Can Adelaide get a little bit of...
That's probably the area which is the question mark for Hawthorn. They rely on Newcombe a fair bit there.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Could you see someone like a Peatling or a Keys shutting him down?
I would think Peatling would go to Newcombe, I would think.
Yep.
So.
And Adelaide being arguably the most attacking side for probably a good chunk of the year, their last couple of weeks in using their forward line hasn't been as good as it has been earlier in the season.
It was terrible.
How does that happen? Is that connection from midfield to forward? Or?
Yeah, as I said, they look like deer in headlights and just...
Well, they never looked like they wanted to take the game on.
Look, I thought, as we said, we've already said it once, I think everyone, players, coaching, had a Barry Crocker.
Yep.
let's see what happens
Bust
Friday
out,
night.
bust out the West End cans before the game, and
Yeah.
away you go. There you go. Tip, mate.
I'm going to go for Hawthorn.
It's going to be a tight, tough tussle. Hawthorn by 4 points. I think that's probably going to be the crux of the evening. I think it's going to be seesawing, and if Hawthorn get on top early, then the doubt starts to come in. Adelaide will have a crack. They'll get back into it, but I think Hawthorn will hold them off. And they were quite good last week against GWS. So
They were, but they did get some luck in the last quarter. I
Yep.
thought the free kick Hawthorn was back in vogue. Like
free kick,
you know,
Collingwood free kick Hawthorn.
I don't think Adelaide. The umpire on Thursday night wasn't too bad.
Yep.
I think we've got to be fair there. But I thought the last quarter there was it was 2 points to difference.
Yes.
And Hawthorn got paid a free for holding the ball, incorrect disposal.
Yes.
Well, it showed on the replay. The guy didn't actually tackle.
Yep.
He knocked his shoulder. That should have been play on. Now, that used to be an error in law. You'd get dropped for that.
Yep.
But I don't think that's in vogue like it used to
Well,
be.
we don't know what the policies and procedures are these days. There's just so many of them. We'll talk about the GWS Hawks game in a minute. Let's get on to the Friday night game. Geelong were absolutely sensational against the Lions, and the injuries
And realistically, they
are
should have won easier.
Yes. Realistically, the injuries are catching up with Brisbane a little bit, and also a long campaign from last year's premiership.
It does look that way. And look, the bizarre umpiring got them back in the game.
Well, let's stop on that right now. Question without notice. Can you believe that a 130-metre penalty was the right call to make?
One, it was really soft. And the bizarre part by that was that it was paid by Brent Wallace.
Mm-hmm. That's
Terry Wallace's son.
Right.
Now, it's not like he hasn't grown up in a football environment.
Have you seen the footage of where Rayner was actually up in the umpire's face?
Yeah, I thought
ahead of time, and then
I thought that was average. Now, you are covered if O'Connor had been warned about 3 times by the umpire. Next time you do anything, but, so out of that, but it was just look. The problem is, and it gets back. We've got it at SANFL level. And one of the umpires, take control and all that. It's bullshit.
Yep.
You're not umpiring lower grades of amateur league. Yes, you do have to take control because players' safety comes into vogue.
Yep. And local clubs can get out of control very, very quickly.
Like that. There's more discipline. You don't have to do that at the top levels. When's the last time you saw Lynch this year is probably the first player to lose the plot.
Yep.
And everyone was so surprised because it just doesn't happen anymore.
Yep.
And it's wrong. The instruction. I'm going back to and that's what I'm going to go on the rant.
Yes.
The instructions are wrong.
Yep.
It should be leave the game alone, pay the first warranted free kick, let the players decide the result.
Yep.
And there's just a lack of common sense in umpiring at the moment. And I think it is the worst we've ever seen.
Yes, and it's only going to get harder. Well, we're trying to make it easier, but it's only going to get harder. Coming up in our flashback segment, we've actually got a bit of an umpiring controversial from a Collingwood player back in the, I think it was the early 80s, might have just made a bit of contact with the umpire. So that'll be an interesting one to watch.
I do
as well.
remember that one.
Yep. And the 130 metres, and then the subsequent double free kick was done by the Geelong player.
It was done by Guthrie,
but he sucked the umpire in, didn't he?
It was,
Yep, real problem. Where to for the Brisbane Lions, mate? Where are you seeing them at? Obviously playing, like we talked about a little bit earlier.
You now wonder, but Ashcroft will go on the inside. They'll play both Ashcrofts on the ball.
Yep.
Each time Brisbane this year we've thought, they've come back.
Yes.
One in Melbourne. Their record interstate this year overall is very good.
Yep.
Yes, it did look like the gas bottle might be hit, but Q clash, they'll lift. I think it'll be a really good game.
Yep, and fantastic that you know, they were calling for it to be a standalone Friday night game a few weeks ago. It's now going to be a standalone game, obviously in the finals as well. And now that we've basically had all expansion clubs play each other in a final series, which is even better again, isn't it? And abnormality in the quirk of the final series is that Sydney and actually GWS have played the most amount of interstate finals against each other, which is absolutely amazing. And credit to Sydney and GWS for obviously doing what they've been doing as well. And they've got a bit of a challenge ahead of them, both of themselves, obviously, now that GWS are out.
Let's just say there may also be an Adelaide player, Rory Laird, who's quite correctly absolutely spewing and going, hang on, I got one game, Degoe, that was worse.
Yes.
And yet the finals levy, Taxi gets off.
Yes.
And yet they all keep going, ranking, oh, no, you don't get any less because of finals.
Yeah, there's no consistency.
Jesus, hypocrites.
It's a real problem. Hipwood being out is a bit of a blow for Brisbane as well.
Yeah, he's been out for a while, though. Yep. So I think they'll probably bring him Oscar McInerney.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I think Sam Day might miss out.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Geelong, mate, I've got a real statistic here that teams to make preliminary final since 2000, Geelong at 15 times.
Yeah, it's just so consistent.
Collingwood at 12, Sydney at 9, Brisbane at 8, Port Adelaide at 8, 7 for Hawthorn and 5 for Adelaide.
Oh, and, you know, obviously luck plays a large part, but also you've got to have full credit to Geelong's fitness department that Reece Stanley and Colin Dadgley, who's not an automatic selection.
Nope.
They're only players.
But they're role players that they pick up so well, don't they?
Yeah, so just full credit to Geelong in that regard.
Yep. And Geelong play a lot of those players in their VFL affiliate side for 50, 60, 70 games just to get them used to what's going on.
And then Manor comes in and wins the best youngster at 28 years of age.
Yes.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah, we all know that one as well. Geelong, who are they playing in the prelim final, mate? I know we're skipping ahead a little bit here, but
I think they'll be playing Hawthorn.
Okay. All right. GWS v Hawthorn was the other final. This was an interesting seesawing game. Hawthorn got out to a reasonably good lead, but 47 points down, and GWS showed that they've got some talent still to burn, and can't understand why they haven't done as well as they could have this year.
I think their absolute best is the best.
Yep.
But they just don't produce it for often enough, long enough.
Yep.
You've also got to query their game plan that there's so many inside 50s against them. And you can bank, that, Taylor, Buckley, very good defence.
Yep.
But Buckley getting injured and you're going to get scored against. When there's that many inside 50s consistently
the damn wall's going to break, isn't it?
In general.
Hawthorn, to their credit, were challenged and were behind. They were able to find a way to win. Does that give them enormous self-belief, or did they have to spend a bit of petrol just to sort of get themselves back in the game? And it does hurt them a little bit for the start of this game.
I reckon it gives them confidence. I admit I was barracking for a draw at the end of normal time for extra time.
Yep.
Because then I think it did look like it was a distinct possibility at one stage.
Yep.
So,
it's going to be very interesting. And then the other one was an absolute thriller over at Optus Stadium there. And David Swallow, the man of the moment, the man that they sort of brought in, it was announced early in the week he's going to play. He's earned his spot. He comes in and plays probably the biggest role of all.
And the irony is he makes the error 2 minutes earlier.
Yes.
It looks like he's cost them the game.
Yep.
And then wins the free kick. Now, thank goodness that they weren't 2 points down as it showed.
Yep.
With kick where it's flicked the finger and 1 point down. Now, a few people out there are saying, Freo were dumb to highlight the umpire. It's reviewed anyway.
Yes.
Every goal is reviewed before it starts
this
again.
particular camera system that they've got in is specifically just for the AFL and just for the ARC. The frame rate per second is a lot better than your average Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10, Fox footy cameras. So they did actually show a bit of a highlight in how blurry it actually is from your normal camera to this high-speed camera. And that was what they were going on. It would have been reviewed anyway. It would have been called a point.
Yeah.
to even think that it was a goal initially was an amazing feat for Swallow, and then the point actually was
a better result.
A better result for the Suns as well.
But as I said, I'm thinking, I'm so glad they weren't 2 points down.
Yes,
he would have never forgiven himself then.
Yep. Flip side of that, Nate Fyfe obviously retiring, absolute legend of the game. Got the most out of himself. I know he went a fair while there for not having any injuries and was playing brilliantly, but just the last 3 or 4 years just hasn't been able to get on the track as much. Hasn't
had any luck. Spoke eloquently as always.
Well, you don't become a Brownlow medalist if you.
No, but he's just
He's just an all-round.
He's just really eloquent to say, the game, it's weird ways and get what you deserve. He just really got it together and. Yeah, class act. Yeah,
didn't have any regrets. He got the most out of himself. That's all he can ask. Where do you see the Fremantle season as a whole, mate? They are one of the younger sides.
Yeah, that's what you've got to keep reminding. I think a few of us going, it's a bit of a failure with that list. But, geez, their age demographic.
Yep.
And if they, just to get young through a full season, they're going to be pretty hard.
One to watch for 2026.
Yep.
All right, mate. You've obviously picked. You're going to pick Brisbane.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Brisbane.
I'm going to pick Brisbane only on the fact that the Gold Coast have got to come all the way back from Perth, which is always one of the tougher trips in football. But that one there is one of the longest trips in football. Yeah. But it almost felt like the Suns played their grand final a little bit. I think that we got that finals win.
We all suspect that. And Mrs. Rao was probably the highlight of the weekend.
Yeah. Three votes.
Yeah, she was brilliant.
And didn't hold back on the cameras as well.
No, she was hilarious.
Fantastic. So good to see some flavour in the game, isn't there? That's for sure. And you're picking Hawthorn over Adelaide.
Yep.
I'm going to pick Hawthorn just there quietly. All right, let's talk Port Adelaide very, very quickly. Josh Carr hasn't wasted any time in delisting, and now he's looking towards his recruiting of coaches for obviously the new era to begin.
Yeah, I reckon we can probably say it's fallacy that hasn't wasted time, that he's been probably planning this for at least 2 months, 2 months out before the end of the year. They weren't going to play finals.
Yep.
So
do you think that's the advantage of Hinckley staying at Port Adelaide, that it allowed him time to get dot the I's and cross the T's, so to speak, for his own peace of mind, rather than having to take the reins?
I think Hinckley being there took pressure off him. If he'd been in control and they bomb out this year, which I still think would have happened with their injuries they got, far more pressure on him. At least next year he starts afresh, and if Lukosius and Marshall and that...
It starts to look a little bit more potent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. What did you think about the new coaching appointment from West Coast there, mate?
Obviously he knows him from his time in WA, so I'm all in favour of that. You've got to have your coaching team you've got confidence in.
Luke Webster is the coach that I was just trying to think of. I had it written down here in my notes. Is it a case of coaches like that having to put people they know around them just for that little bit of stability?
Yeah, I think so. I think that plays a part.
Does Mark Williams come into play here?
I don't know.
Or does it take? Or is it more of a distraction of him being back at Port Adelaide?
I don't think it would be, because Choco would be more a player development role and that. So I don't think.
But that's what Port need.
Yeah, I actually think he'd be great for them again. But then people say, "Will Williams really be coaching?" And you're going through it all again.
Yes, that's why I asked whether
I dare say Hinckley would go, "No, I don't want that," and you can't blame him for that.
Do you think Josh Carr's been hung out to dry before he even coached a game, with the amount of changes not only that he had to make, but going on from that is that Chris Davies confirmed his departure last week and going to Carlton, but that leaves a big hole right from the get-go for someone like a Josh Carr when it comes to trading this year and drafting this year. And how long did Port know about the Davies situation before Carr was actually really taking over?
Possibly a while. Chris has been approached numerous times by other clubs and the AFL. Full credit to CD in that way.
Yep.
So know him through state cricket.
Yep.
Person I have a huge respect for.
Yep. Because he's helped mould Port Adelaide quite well under Hinckley with limited
think
resources when you think about it over the last sort of 10 years.
I think he's done a fantastic job.
Yep.
And he goes through a fair bit himself. He's got his own health problems
Yep.
and tends to spend a bit of time in hospital, which is kept pretty quiet in winter.
Yep.
And look, as I said, he's a person I respect greatly.
Absolutely. How does Port keep fans engaged? They can't afford a drop in membership because they're one of those clubs that does rely heavily on a reasonably strong membership base.
I don't think they will. I think...
Will they sell the Josh Carr era?
Yeah, I think they will.
Get behind him at all costs?
And also the part of, Hinckley's gone, and I think out of that, while I'm a Hinckley fan, I think Hinckley overachieved with that list in general.
Do you think some fans will come back to Port Adelaide?
Yeah, I think that's a possibility.
Because Hinckley's gone.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, and it's one to watch out for. But I think I know they're going to say they're not rebuilding, but if they're resetting or rejigging a little bit, I think the fans will understand that, and they've got to give time for results to sort of happen their way.
I reckon they've got a couple, Whitlock and Rand. I reckon they've got a couple of youngsters there. There's a bit to work with. Yep. So
if they lose Butters,
I don't think they will though.
No, but if they do, hypothetically,
well then it changes things.
Yep. But if they keep him, changes the landscape, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm thinking in next year, a couple of teams rise each year from having missed the 8. They get an easier draw next year.
Yep.
Likely to get West Coast and North Melbourne twice. So,
North Melbourne are on the march a little bit.
Yeah,
we'll see what they're going to do as well. All right, mate. Before we head off to a quick break, we'll run through these AFL hot topics reasonably quickly. Sam Draper has informed Essendon that he will be exercising his right to free agency next year. It looks like Brisbane will be the club of choice, but Adelaide...
Apparently on big dollars, and I'm buggered how Brisbane can keep affording this.
Do you think it's a big risk, though, that he's done an Achilles?
It is for a ruckman.
Yep.
Yeah, it's...
Buyer beware?
I think so. With an Achilles, with a ruckman, jumping, landing... It is a worry,
and maybe some changes to the rules as well,
exactly.
Which means that running and jumping might actually be back in vogue.
Yeah,
exactly right. It looks like the last touch out of bounds, the no more
last
subs.
disposal.
Sorry, last disposal.
Yes,
not the last touch. I know that's the one everyone gets confused with.
Yep.
Sorry, even I got that one wrong. The last disposal out of bounds. No more subs, and the wild card round will be part of sweeping changes next year.
It looks like it.
Are you a fan of keeping the SANFL model where it's the whole ground and if you get an unlucky bounce, you just get an unlucky bounce?
Well, yeah, and I think the irony of it is there's games at Nord, especially with a wind that blows it to the school side. Yep. Unley with its size, Glenelg. It's actually a rule which has more impact and effect, and we've all just grown used to it. At least it's not an argument anymore.
Yep. And that's probably one of the biggest frustrations from fans in general, is that ball does get flicked out quickly. It does.
And SANFL, you know what it is. Yeah, it's that side's ball. We get on with it. So I was against it to start with.
Yep.
And because I value ruckman, I don't think enough use is put on rucking, and I hate the umpires guessing the ruck free kicks. It shits me to tears. It's another aspect which we'll cover later.
Do you think they bring this in, but they also bring in with the centre bounces that the players have to actually be separated? They can't wrestle?
Yeah, I don't mind the wrestling, provided it's and it should be, obviously where it's not visual, but it just should be, it's easy. If there's a real grab, yes, or a block with both hands, free kick. Otherwise, let them go.
Yep.
And it's... For mine, I don't care about the wrestling. It's the bloody guess free kick is the one which shits me.
Yep. The no subs, I think we're all pretty much well in agreement with that.
Yep.
Just make it 5 on the bench or make it 4 on the bench, whatever you feel like.
Exactly.
The game has always been a marathon, not a sprint, and I think that you've got to basically deal with that in-game as well as all season long. So very, very interesting there. And then the last one there was obviously the what was it?
Tasmania to come in the VFL.
The wild card round. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah.
The wild card round. What are your thoughts?
I'm lukewarm on it.
Is it because we have such an inequitable season that does give a slightly better chance to even things up?
Yes, and that for mine is the one big tick in its favour.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm lukewarm on it, but I don't mind it for that reason.
Yep.
You know,
so is it? What is it? 6 v 10.
7 plays.
Sorry,
7, 10, 8 plays 9.
Yep. Are you're a fan of just that over a wildcard weekend, and then give the week off between the grand final, the prelim final and grand final?
Well, see, it's still a week off for the 6 sides.
Yep.
You got to remember, it's only the 2 games.
That's
so
right.
It's only 7 and 8 who are now playing. So the week off's still there.
Yep.
So out of that, I'd still rather get rid of. I'd rather just have no finals.
Okay.
Because I think
no finals bye.
I think the top 4 don't get the advantage like they should.
Yep.
Like they used to.
Or could you extend it to 4 elimination finals so the top 4 do get a week off?
Yeah, I think there's ways you can muck around with it, but I just think at the moment,
rather than just the 4 teams, you could actually have 6 teams playing.
Yeah. So anyway,
that would be an interesting little exercise as well. Tasmania to enter the VFL. No movement yet on the AFL team. Still a bit of work there to be done, isn't there?
Getting there. Yeah, that might have a bit of Tasmania into the VFL. Watch this space with it could affect
local SANFL club.
Yes.
We'll have a look at that one a little bit later. Mate, here's a bit of a controversial one. A bit of a back to the future approach. The best way to fix the next gen academies, which seems to be the biggest divisive subject, especially with the northern states at the moment, is to go back to the old 3-tier comp where you have a league reserves and maybe an under 21 competition. And then basically you are drafting those players into your under 21 competition from your area.
Yeah, you still probably got an advantage out of it. It's a hard one, and I get it that you're saying that because of it, and we will try and get Sam Wicks on the show. I'll chase that up.
Yep.
Well, I know from Sam made the point when I interviewed him in Sydney that he doesn't think he would have played AFL footy without having had the academy.
Yes.
So it was interesting to hear that perspective and that helped him get noticed. So
going back to some sort of 3-tier.
I still see the part of it. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. You
then have got your zones and you have to work those zones and split it all up like it used to be done.
Used to be, yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
And you're recruiting from that zone. You're then drafting from that zone. You're then putting the pool together, and then once they're drafted into your club, they're your responsibility.
It'd make teams work their area again.
Exactly right, yeah. and that's really what it gets down to. We just can't rely on the AFL to fund everything through nothing really. You've got to be able to have the SANFL working with the AFL, the WAFL working with the AFL, everyone working together for one simple cause.
Worries me. You go back to a 3-tier comp like that. It's another reason I'll probably ignore the SANFL even more and less funding, which is
yep.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that one, but I just thought that a 3-tier comp might actually just sort of help that a little bit, or whether you can mix that reserves under 21 back into some sort of back to their clubs rather than for their clubs. So
bit of work to do on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one, mate. West Coast have put their requests in for help to get off the bottom of the table or out of trouble. What are your thoughts on that, mate, considering that they made some mistakes and some pretty big ones and now they're paying for it?
Yeah, but also they did win the 2018 flag.
Yes.
It's not like it's 100 years ago.
Yes.
It's still a huge
St
club.
Kilda haven't won for quite
66, So, I'm mixed on that one as well. I get it, but you're also being, hey, hang on, we want more, that we've stuffed up so much, we want more.
Yes.
It's a bit like Oliver, isn't it? I want more.
Yep.
So
please, sir, may I have some more. All right, let's have a look at what's coming up, mate. Some interesting SANFL results with Nord getting up and Glenelg just getting done by Sturt after half-time. That's right.
Very well.
The AFLW Adelaide in a bit of a controversial finish there at Nord Oval. And our man Ange might be back in the EPL.
Yes, may well be Nottingham Forest manager in the next 24 hours.
That's right.
listening to the Game On Podcast. We'll be right back after this short break.
A dents and scratches putting a dent in your day? Introducing Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide, your trusted solution for automotive woes. With over 2 decades of expertise, Roger Steen Crash Repairs guarantees top-notch service, restoring your vehicle to its former glory in no time. From minor dings to major collisions, our skilled technicians handle it all with precision and care, using state-of-the-art equipment and techniques.
Roger Steen Crash Repairs saved my car. It looks brand new.
Fast, friendly and reliable. I wouldn't trust anyone else with my vehicle. Don't let accidents slow you down. Visit Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide at 14 Penner Avenue, Glynde, for quality service you can count on. And here's a special offer just for our listeners. Mention this podcast and receive a $100 discount on your repair. Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide. Excellence in every repair.
All right, mate, let's continue on with the SANFL. Wow, week 2 of the finals didn't disappoint. Nord upset Adelaide in an impressive display of pressure that I don't think we've seen for quite some time.
It's a bit surprising, let's be honest. Nord were none of 8 from the teams finishing above them, and they've now beaten, in terms of beaten Centrals and now Adelaide.
Yep.
So, look, full credit to Jaden Gale, where he'd struggled earlier in the year, played some reserves as well, and look, just to be, maybe on the fringe, and then he kicked 5. That's easily his most influential league game and in a final. So, well done.
Pierce Seymour obviously playing his 100th game,
Yeah.
had a bit of an influence there at various stages.
Yep.
He was up against some tall timber there a little bit with Burgess and Strawn going down in the forward line there, but held up pretty strongly, and his calmness coming out of defence was really on show, especially when they needed the ball to move in the right direction.
Yeah, big test this week. It'll just be interesting to see what they do with McBean. I hope Jack Hurd goes to him. He should be Jack Hurd.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been Jack Hurd the last year.
Yep.
Might have reflected my thoughts on last year's grand final in that regard.
Fair enough.
But
But Nord, it was impressive to see them take the game on.
Yeah.
Their pressure was elite, especially in the first quarter. I think it was 32 tackles to 12 or something along those lines. It did even out as the day went on, but the damage was done quite early, and Norden really needed a big start to hold them in good stead, and ended up winning by 34 points. It was a great effort.
On full credit to Finn Hurd too. He's rucking severely undersized, and yet he's being still competitive. He's getting plenty of clearances.
I still think he had the better against the Adelaide ruckman that was taken from Norwood in the preseason, McAndrew.
Yeah.
I thought at times he had the better of that duel,
Which is huge
it is.
considering how much shorter he is. Like, he's probably 8 inches shorter than McAndrew. So,
Is it a case of will, want, and desire being the catalyst there, in that they did want that?
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. I hope Finn's not too pumped up for this prelim after what happened in last year's grand final, but the opponent from last year's not playing, so I think that
makes it a little bit easier. Let's move on.
Not easier, less chance of Finn doing something.
Yes. Let's move on to the other semi-final. Glenelg jumped out of the blocks and really did stun Sturt for a short period of time there, but after half-time, Sturt just put the foot down and showed us why they are the premiership favourite.
Well, to half-time, Glenelg just used the ball better. They'd had, I think it was like, they were 2 goals up at half-time, but I think Sturt had 14 more inside 50s, and you're sitting there going, well, surely the amount of play Sturt are getting should come through, but Glenelg just keep using the ball here. There a chance, but it was. I thought from about 10 minutes into the third quarter, that Sturt were home.
Does Glenelg look a little banged up at the moment?
They did.
Yeah,
they did. So,
does that play into Nord's advantage?
Well, can't hurt.
Yep. Obviously, the Tigers going for the three-peat. which would be historical for them
and
and,
it'd been
the SANFL as well.
It had been a pretty tough qualifying final.
Yep.
Where they had a lot of luck.
Yep. Against Adelaide, yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it does happen.
Yes.
Let's move on to the prelim final this week. Nord v Glenelg. What are your initial thoughts?
Look, you still go back to the minor round where Glenelg looked the better side. The game at Nord was competitive. Glenelg were way too good down the bay. At Nord were competitive and didn't have much luck.
Yep.
But
Are Nord timing their run perfectly?
possibly. I still think Glenelg and Sturt are the two sides.
Yep.
So I'll go for Glenelg.
Yep.
But I'll tip Glenelg.
Yes.
Let's have that quick
Yeah.
interact.
Yep.
There. But, yeah.
Head says Glenelg, heart always says Nord. Understandable. But it's going to be an interesting one to watch. I think Nord come in with a lot of confidence, and who knows, it could be a rematch of the 78 grand final, which would be amazing, but I think Sturt are just way too good at the moment for everybody.
Yeah, but they were in 78, but they just managed to kick that lovely scoreline of 14 goals, 26.
Yep.
16-15 defeats, 14-26.
Yep. Yes. With a controversial decision on the goal line. Could it happen again?
Oh, geez, that'd be funny.
Yeah. Just add to the theatre. Look, the best three sides in SA really remain in the finals this year. It's a real positive for the SANFL. The three biggest clubs, sorry.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep.
I thought Adelaide was still...
Is that a positive for the SANFL?
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see. I still believe this game on Sunday should be at Glenelg.
Yes.
I'm very adamant that the only game should be the grand final, and that it should be whoever finished higher gets the home final. I'm very firm on that.
Would you be a fan of maybe splitting it up and saying that the prelim and the grand final are played at Adelaide Oval, and yet the first two finals are actually played at
Prelim as well.
Prelim as well.
Prelim shows traditionally you watch it'll be under 10,000.
You're going to be under. I'm going to say under 15. So
no, it'll be well under 15.
Okay.
So out of that, I still believe would have been at Glenelg. It would have been absolutely packed.
Yep. All right, there you go. We've got a little bit of a wager going on. You reckon under 10, I reckon under 15. So it'll be interesting to see how.
Put it this way, I'll say definitely under 12.
Okay.
All
right. Well, then I'll still say 15. Yep. I reckon it's going to be around the 15 mark. Yep. Whether it's just over it or just under it, it'll be around that mark. All right, let's move on to the AFL. Adelaide go down narrowly to Brisbane at Nord Oval, but it was really down to a downfield free kick. Yeah. Was it there, firstly? And two,
technically
did it need to happen?
There. Yeah, it was dumb.
Yep.
And it was silly by Emma Charlton.
Yep.
It just technically it was a correct decision. Just didn't have to do it. It was more the play.
Yep. Adelaide currently sitting in 8th spot. Brisbane actually sitting in 9th, which is quite unusual. But we all know that North Melbourne is the team to beat by a long, long way. How have they got it right and everyone else got it so wrong?
Incredible, isn't it?
Yep.
A couple of North mates are saying that should be their side every week. Yeah.
They'd give it a red hot crack, that's for sure. Port Adelaide, positive start by the Power, but just couldn't hold off a fast finishing West Coast in the end. They came home like a a wet sail.
Certainly came all over them ran all over them the last quarter.
Yep. Going to be interesting to see how that one goes. All right, the talent pool has stopped growing. And this has been a concern, or should be a concern for the AFLW.
It's a massive concern.
Because
they've grown too quick.
Yep.
They've grown too quick. All keen, we've got to have teams for every club. Nah, it was. This was obvious. If this was coming, you could see that.
Do you think
it's
this?
Been ridiculous.
Do you think this also falls into the category of participation, viewership, games being played? I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about it's at the wrong time of the year. I mean, I honestly didn't know the Adelaide result until Monday.
Yeah, it's just.
Because it just wasn't invested in listening to it. If it was at the beginning of the season, it's the only thing going on, really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
We've talked about that ad nauseum. We know that that's something that's got to be done. But do you think the overexpansion has probably caused a bit of that as well?
Yeah, and I just think too that the numbers have plateaued in general in terms of because there've been so many injuries.
Yes.
so many ACLs. A lot of girls have stopped playing.
Yep.
In general. Like it's become harder at the club level with numbers.
Could the AFL reduce the number of teams?
I don't think they will now. I think they've gone too far.
Wow.
So
considering it could potentially eat a big chunk into profits that should be going back to local clubs.
Yeah, but
or local associations like an SANFL.
It was interesting interviewing Gillan McLaughlin a few weeks ago, and Gillan made the point that 7 out of the 10 years' best ever attendances have come since AFLW started.
Yep.
That there are far more females going to games. Yep. And I admit, I then had a look at the Adelaide Collingwood game.
Yes.
Just had a general look around and Howie and I were talking about it, you know, from Gillan's comment and looking at the crowd and Howie said, there are a lot of females here.
Yep.
So, you know, to catch 22.
Yep.
But yeah, I just think they've expanded way too quick.
Yep. I think that the potentially 2-tiered system might actually come in at some stage, and I think that's probably the way to do it. Can't have teams getting belted by plenty each week there. All right, let's move on to soccer very, very quickly. Ange is back in the headlines and possibly a replacement at Nottingham Forest.
Geez, it's job security over there, and it's
three games.
3 games. See you later. I bugger our clubs can just afford the payouts and that all the time.
Well, considering the amount that they're paying their players, how you can sack a coach and
3 games. It's crazy.
You don't give an opportunity for a coach to settle in. Do you see him getting the job?
That's all the publicity. Normally in English football, once there's publicity like that, there generally is fire in the brimstone.
He does know the owners from previous sort of movements as well. It's going to be an interesting watch. I reckon within the next 24 hours we'll have some sort of answer on that one way or another. Western United has been booted from the A-League. Is this a temporary thing considering they're saying it's a year pause, or could it be something more permanent?
Once you're out, you know it's harder to come back.
Yep.
So
players have basically been told that they can go anywhere. Is this a good opportunity for someone like an Adelaide to pick up a couple more experienced players, considering they do have quite a young,
I hope so,
a young brigade as well. All right, mate, we better get off to another quick break and get into our flashbacks as well, mate. So we've got coming up, we will play Jake Lehmann Part 2. And Greg Edwards Part 2 as well.
You're listening to the Game On Podcast. We'll be right back after this short break.
Looking to buy or sell your home anywhere in Adelaide, from the hills to the sea? Meet Gary KRIEVS, your dedicated local agent from OUWENS CASSERLY Real Estate. With unparalleled knowledge of Adelaide's housing market and a commitment to exceptional service, Gary ensures a smooth and stress-free experience for all your real estate needs. Trust the expert, trust Gary KRIEVS at OUWENS CASSERLY Real Estate. Your next dream home awaits. Contact Gary today on 0422 071 317 or on email garyk@ocre.com.au. And for more listings, please visit owenscasserly.com.au. Make it happen.
Flashbacks.
Fella swings round, looks up towards half forward, or dropping his head at the last moment then was Roberts, who was in front, however. And the umpires come in. It's going to be a free kick to the Swans.
Reported.
Tell you what, there's a bit of frustration keeping in. Well, out comes the book.
Actually, he was lucky 5 minutes ago, Johnny Burke. I thought the umpire was going to book him a few minutes earlier. So I think let's have a look at this one on the replay.
Well,
oh boy!
Oh.
Did we see right then, Ray?
I thought, actually, when I was... Oh, he just whacked the umpire. Hey!
Oh, no!
That's unbelievable.
Oh, boy. Well, this is sensational. The umpire has gone down. Now, there are a number of others coming up to talk to him. Surely we've got to get the Collingwood runner out here and get him off the ground for a spell.
Oh, he whacked
he wants to be very careful because...
I'd take him off now, the boy.
Well, he's got it.
I think you've got to take the boy off.
Very smart.
Definitely.
You've got to take the boy off.
He's leaving the ground.
Take him off.
Oh, dear, dear, dear.
He'll whack the runner now.
Well, he's not a happy boy.
I've never seen that.
No.
Well,
Yeah, I've been around footy scenes for a long time.
and we invite you on the Army Reserve Cup and look what's happened.
It has to be complete frustration, I would say, and
Well, you just... look, he's going to punch the fellow out of the
someone
fence
in the
now.
stand. He's into someone in the stand.
Oh, he's give him one too.
yep.
Yeah, he's done well.
Oh, that's very silly.
He's only young too, isn't he?
Yeah, Johnny Burke. I saw him, well, just a couple... just
Crackers does not want to interview him, we've just heard.
Extra time. Big finish.
Mate, talking a little bit about umpires, that is probably one of the most controversial umpiring events that has happened in AFL/VFL history, hasn't it?
It was incredible. It was commentary. Slug Jordan and Sandy Roberts and Peter McKenna there was entertaining as well.
Absolutely. Young Burke got 10 years for that. What do you reckon he'd get these days?
Oh, I think it's
The electric chair, wouldn't he?
Yeah, at a minimum.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. All right, let's start off with tennis. US Open crowns 2 new champions. One player continues to shatter all records, or could potentially shatter all records being held, and that's Carlos Alcaraz.
Yep, now number one, and I think he should be number one at the moment. Yeah, and geez, Dimonor yet again, and
Yeah, he's 0 from 6 in quarterfinals now.
Yeah, it was a bit of a choke there. It's a real worry with him mentally that he just can't get so consistent. But yeah,
Is it going to be a case of that he finally gets over the line with one and then it becomes that mental block is actually gone? Or is it the game style that he's got with grinding so much that he's going to end up running out of time to be able to do anything?
unfortunately, I reckon it's more likely the second.
Yep.
I hope I'm wrong, but yeah,
Yep.
I just think it's his game style, and this was the one he should have.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, should have got at least to a semi.
This is the one.
Crazy. The Davis Cup is back down under in about a week's time. Australia obviously on home soil for the first time in what seems like forever. Good question. You've got me on the hop there. I will double check that for you and get back to you on that. Let's move on to the NBL. Former 36ers player has an absolute swipe at the 36ers management on his way out.
Yeah. Always take that with a grain of salt that it's a former player, so you're never sure on that one.
They went and got obviously a pretty handy player in return. Sort of slaps a little bit in the face of that one there, which is very interesting. Australia are actually playing Belgium in that Davis Cup qualifier on September the 13th and 14th, Saturday and Sunday, so keep an eye out for that one there. The NBL's best player says he's ready to go and bring that elusive championship to the 36ers. The Bryce Cotton appointment, do you think is a good one for the 36ers?
Oh, it virtually means it's sell out all year there. Let's just hope that the 36ers are right up there.
Yep.
So,
hopefully we're celebrating a championship there in a few months' time. All right, let's move on to cricket. McDonald, the head coach, actually joined Geelong's board on the eve of the AFL finals. Were you surprised with that?
Yeah.
I know that he's got some contacts down there, and he's been around sporting organisations for quite some time. So,
yeah,
very
been around a fair while.
All right, mate. I know you've been hanging out to answer a few of these questions, but what do we expect from this current summer series coming up? The crowds, the results, the different competitions.
I
what
think
do you
the
think,
Ashes series is going to be really close. I think England's bowling is real iffy in terms of fitness wise.
Yep.
Archer and Wood, you can never back them
for long periods of time.
But if they can get 3 tests out of them, they're right in it because I think their batting's better than Australia's.
Yep.
I think they bat probably a bit deeper as well, a bit more overall. So this is England's best chance in an away Ashes series in a long time. So.
Can you see Australia making some bold decisions, which they haven't been known for? Sometimes it's harder to get out of the Australian Test team than in, but does it warrant maybe a couple of changes at that top order to make it all work?
I think it is the most important first 3 Shield rounds than what there's been in
a long, long time.
Maybe even ever.
Yep. We know that Australia and England are going to draw a reasonable crowd, but crowds in general, do you see them being slightly up on average for an Ashes or slightly down?
Oh, I think they'll basically sell the grounds out.
Yep.
The crowds will be huge,
yep.
Especially if it goes down to the wire. Although the Boxing Day and New Year's Test match generally tend to sell out anyway.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Adelaide will put on its best foot forward like it always does.
Day Test match this year, which is a bit of a surprise.
Yep.
Brisbane have got the day-night, so which I find a bit bewildering with the potential of summer storms in Brisbane in the afternoon.
Yep.
Yes, I find that a bit of a weird one.
Yep.
So, be interested to see how that goes.
You people lobbering there. All right, let's talk about South Australian cricket. Can they continue the success built on last year and maintain a level for continued success for a period of time?
Yeah, I think we can. Or probably won't get Alex as many games.
Yep.
Although Alex will, dare say, knowing Alex, he'll make himself available
No
when
matter
he can
when
again.
Yep.
But I just think hopefully the confidence that can. Our batting is still a bit of a question mark, especially the top order.
Yes.
But then if Sanger and McSweeney, I could easily see Sanger playing in this Ashes series. I think he's a huge possibility. Again, depending on the first 3 or 4 Shield games. So
you heard it first, folks. Malcolm's put
I rate Sanger big time.
He's staking
and
his
I still
claim.
rate Nathan, and I still rate Nathan McSweeney.
And I think the wild card in there is Jake Weatherall, previous guest of ours. I think so as well.
I think Jake's a huge chance.
Yep, absolutely.
Just as a few of us that keep consistently reminding Weathers at the moment,
yep,
relax.
Exactly right. Maybe we need to get that music out. Relax. Don't do it. Anyway, all right, let's move on to some other topics just to finish us off. The AFL Queensland final, or one of the AFL finals up there, was decided after a player marks the ball on the siren. Fans enter the ground, storm the ground, and it results in a 50-metre penalty, which then reverses the result from a win to the team that had everyone come on to a loss. Can you believe that? That is one of the most bizarre things. We talk about bizarre things happening on a footy field. That is one of the most bizarre I've seen.
It's a weird one. Yeah.
And it was almost like the umpires came up and actually asked the player, like, do you want to take the advantage of the 50? And eventually it got done. It was like, hang on, it should have been
just done.
Done straight away.
Yeah,
so
weird.
It was quite weird, but it changed the complete results, which, it makes me scratch my head there. Anyway, AFL player was robbed in a shocking breach of security, one of the Brisbane players while he was playing. Someone basically said that he'd lost his card to his room and ended up getting into his room and knocking off half of his gear.
I didn't know that.
Not a well-known player, but still.
Yeah, no, that doesn't matter.
No, that's exactly right.
Pretty poor.
Yeah, considering most of the AFL have their designated hotels and so on and so on, you'd think that they'd have been on top of that. Someone might get a bit of trouble for that one there. Might get sacked on that one. And the last one, mate, Nick Riewoldt was involved in a minor altercation here in Adelaide while him and Bruce McAvaney were doing a bit of a cross.
Okay.
A Collingwood supporter came up behind him with the old snuck up behind him like a librarian, started to half sort of tackle him, and Nick, I wouldn't want to mess with Nick Riewoldt. He turned around ready to go and hey, it was game on there. Security for those kind of people need to be a little bit better than what it was, and it wasn't on this occasion. And Nick's probably lucky he didn't end up decking the guy. Or the guy's probably lucky he didn't ended up decking.
Yeah, but Nick's probably lucky that he didn't.
Exactly. It would have been worse. Yeah. Good, the bad, the ugly, quickly for this week, mate.
Good. For mine's Gold Coast, just
can't disagree, mate.
Rap for them to get up. the ugly is the umpiring in the Geelong-Brisbane game especially.
Yep.
Bit of free kick Hawthorn as well.
Yep.
But, yeah, that was easily my bad and ugly.
Yes.
And my entertaining was, as I said, the game on Sunday, the junior game.
Yep.
I was out.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. We'll wind things up there as per usual. We'll do our best to do better next week, but we've got a rule book rant also as a separate segment now, so that way we can, get those thoughts of the rule book here and push them through, and they'll be all on our socials, so look out for them. But until next week, mate, thank you, and we'll see you then.
In this crazy world we live in, we all need the distraction. Enjoying the show? Like, rate, and subscribe. Hook up and connect with us on social media at SportsCast SA. We'll see you next time on Game On.